Hello sports fans, it is Tuesday, September the 24th, the year 2013, and as usual, a lot to get to in the sports world, so let's get it going right now. Hope you guys are having a great day. Let's recap what went on in the sports world the last few days since the last time I talked to you on Friday. Let's start in the NFL. Let's start with the Monday Night Football game last night in Denver, where the Denver Broncos beat the Oakland Raiders 37-21. Denver goes to 3-0. Oakland drops to 1-2. To me, this was a ho-hum type of game. Denver was in control from the start. The score actually is closer than the game actually was. Oakland scored a late touchdown off a Denver fumble. I mean, I don't know why they put the Oakland Raiders on Monday Night Football. Then they put them on the road against one of the best teams in the league. I mean, did anyone think the Raiders were going to win this game last night? I mean, I know Monday Night Football loves this rivalry, and I know it's got a lot of history. But until the Raiders get good again, let's keep them off Monday Night Football, please. I mean, this was a ho-hum type of game. No one thought this game was going to be close, and no one gave the Raiders a shot. And to be honest, they didn't have a shot last night. Denver cruised in this game, and they win 37-21. As far as the rest of the games from last weekend, we got into the Kansas City-Philadelphia game from last Thursday, where the Chiefs went to 3-0 and the Eagles went to 1-2. We covered that game on Friday. I mean, the Chiefs are much improved this year, and I don't like what I see at all from Philadelphia. Philadelphia has major problems. I mean, their defense is atrocious. The bloom is off the rose with this offense. Michael Vick, getting hit again, getting hurt again. I don't like what I see at all from the Eagles right now. So that was the Thursday game. We covered that on Friday. As far as the games on Sunday, there was some really good games on Sunday. Let's start with the Cincinnati game. Cincinnati-Green Bay in Cincinnati. Cincinnati beats Green Bay 34-30. Cincinnati goes to 2-1. Green Bay drops to 1-2. What a tremendous, wacky game this was. Cincinnati jumps out to a 14-0 lead. Green Bay scores 30 straight points to go up 30-14. Then Cincinnati storms back and wins 34-30. Green Bay is up 30-27 in this game with 4 minutes left, and they have a 4th and 1 in Cincinnati territory. They go for it. Not only are they stopped, but the Green Bay fumbles the ball. Cincinnati picks it up and runs it into the end zone to go up 34-30, and Cincinnati hangs on and wins the game. What a tremendous win for Cincinnati, and what a heartbreaking loss for Green Bay. Green Bay's already had 2 tough losses already in the first 3 weeks of the season. This game, and they lost week 1 to San Francisco, which was a heartbreaker as well. So nice win by Cincinnati. And Green Bay, if you're a Green Bay fan, you must be sick. I mean, you had that game in the bag at 30-14. Even at 30-27, you got a 4th and 1 in Cincinnati territory. You think you're going to get that, and you're going to win the game. You end up fumbling, and they run it back. Awful way to lose. Nice job by the Bengals. I like what I see from Cincinnati. Hey, listen, Green Bay's going to be there in the end. I mean, Rodgers is great. That offense is tremendous. Need a little work on defense, but I think Green Bay is going to be there in the end. So that was the game in Cincinnati. Over to another wild game in Miami, where the Miami Dolphins beat the Atlanta Falcons 27-23. Miami goes to 3-0. Atlanta drops to 1-2. Atlanta was in control of this game most of the way. They're up 20-10. Then the game is tied at 20. Atlanta goes up 23-20. Then Atlanta misses a big field goal to keep it 23-20. And Tannehill takes Miami down the field. He hits Sims with 38 seconds left. And Miami steals this game 27-23. Tremendous job by the Dolphins. I like what I see from Tannehill. He looks like a nice young quarterback. Miami much improved. Miami showed signs last year, the beginning of the season. Then they faded out at the end. Miami is much improved. This was a tremendous win by the Dolphins. Tough loss for Atlanta. Atlanta, like Green Bay, 2 tough losses this year. This was a tough loss. They had the tough loss to the Saints. I think the Falcons are a solid team. I like Ryan. I like Jones. I like the offense. They got to get Steven Jackson back. He looks like he's going to miss another few weeks. I think Atlanta's a playoff team. I think they're a solid team. I mean, this was a tough loss, though. Nice job by the Dolphins. Let's go to Baltimore, where the Baltimore Ravens beat the Houston Texans 30-9. Both teams go to 2-1. What is the deal with Houston in this game? Houston's up 6-0 in this game, and the wheels just came off. Baltimore runs back an interception. They run back a kick, and they just slam dunk Houston 30-9. I mean, they didn't even have Ray Rice, Baltimore, because he's banged up. What a terrible performance by Houston. You got to be better than this, Houston. Schaub, I don't know about Schaub. He has games where he looks great. He has games where he looks bad. I mean, I think he's a good quarterback. Is he ever going to get to that elite level? And Houston as a team, are they ever going to get to that elite Super Bowl level? These are the type of losses that keep, Houston down a peg. They had no business losing to a Baltimore team 30-9, and I give the Ravens all sorts of credit. I mean, the Ravens had big question marks the first 2 weeks. They got bombed by Denver, looked bad against Cleveland. Rice is banged up, a lot of new faces for Baltimore. Ray Lewis retired. By the way, they gave Ray Lewis a great ovation at halftime. They retired his number. But great job by Baltimore overall. I mean, Baltimore has a first-class organization from top to bottom. They do it the right way. They are a winning organization, and they showed it here on Sunday. I mean, Houston goes up 6-0. You figure, they're going to win this game. Baltimore's going to have an off season this year, struggle with Cleveland. And Baltimore just laid the wood on Houston. So nice job by Baltimore. They're 2-1. Very disappointed in Houston this year so far. They are 2-1. They had a nice come-from-behind win against San Diego in Week 1. They were outplayed in Week 2 by Tennessee. Were lucky to win that game. And they were just slam-dunked here. I did not like what I saw from Houston at all in this game. They have to pick it up. Schaub's got to pick it up to get to that elite Super Bowl level. Right now, I don't consider Houston a Super Bowl contending team. It's a long way to go. This was an embarrassing performance by Houston. So both teams are 2-1. Nice win by Baltimore. A terrible loss by Houston. Let's go to Tennessee, where the Tennessee Titans beat the San Diego Chargers 20-17. Tennessee goes to a surprising 2-1. San Diego drops to 1-2. San Diego led most of this game. It's typical San Diego. Then Locker hits Hunter with 15 seconds left in the game, and Tennessee steals this game. Let's start with San Diego for a minute. San Diego, listen, they've been playing hard this year, but when you look up, they're still 1-2 and finding ways to lose. They're up big in Week 1 at home against Houston. They found a way to lose. They did have that nice win against Philadelphia in Week 2. This is a game they could have won. They let it slip through their fingers, and we've seen this all too often with San Diego the last few years. I mean, you look up, and they're 1-2, and they could be easily 3-0, and that's the story of San Diego. I mean, they should have never let this game slip away, so San Diego still has work to do. I like some of the things I see from San Diego. They're playing hard, but when you look up, 1-2, the same old story. Tennessee now, 2-1. Tennessee much improved this year. Had a nice win in Pittsburgh in Week 1. Outplayed Houston in Week 2. Let that game slip away. Had a nice come-from-behind win here. And Locker, nice comeback. Now, we still got to see some more things from Locker. He's a great runner. He's still got to prove to me he's an NFL quarterback. He did have a nice come-from-behind win here. We'll see if he can build off that. Tennessee, much improved this year. Very, very nice win. They stole this game. San Diego led most of this game. So, Tennessee 2-1, San Diego 1-2. Let's go down to the Big D, Dallas, where the Dallas Cowboys just routed the Rams 31-7. Dallas up to 2-1, and I think in control of that division. St. Louis drops to 1-2. This was a rout from pretty much the start. St. Louis on their opening drive got into Dallas territory, and then they faked a punt, which I did not like there. It backfired on them. From that point on, it was all Dallas. Turn off your sets. One of those blowout games that was never close. Dallas all the way in a rout. Dallas looked very, very impressive. St. Louis, listen, I know I've been saying they're a year away. I think they're going to be better next year. You don't like to see them take a beating like this, though, 31-7. You'd like to see it be a little more competitive. And I did not like that fake punt early in the game. I mean, that set the wheels in motion for this blowout. So Dallas, nice job. St. Louis, I expect a better performance from you on Thursday night against San Francisco. This was a bad performance by the Rams. Dallas, like I said, 2-1. Rams 1-2. Let's go to Minnesota, where the Cleveland Browns beat the Minnesota Vikings 31-27. Minnesota is 0-3. Didn't they make the playoffs last year? Cleveland gets a much-needed win there, 1-2. Hoyer, who started at quarterback, to Cameron with 51 seconds left. Cameron looks like a nice player, by the way. Cleveland pulled out all the stops in this game. Faked a punt, faked a field goal. They're up 24-14, Cleveland. Minnesota roars back to go up 27-24, and then Cleveland pulls it out at the end. Nice win by Cleveland. Hoyer, who started for the Browns at quarterback, he did some nice things. He did have some turnovers, so he was, up and down, but he did get the win. Ponder, the quarterback for Minnesota, I don't love Ponder. I don't want to completely rule him out as a bust or anything. He's still young. He's still got time. I don't like what I see from Ponder. I am not a big believer in Ponder. And the Vikings as a whole, 0-3. This was a terrible loss at home. You are up 27-24 in your building against Cleveland. You just rallied from 10 down, and you let Cleveland come down and win the game. Terrible job by the Vikings. I don't think they recover from this, and let's keep an eye on Ponder. Let's see if he can be a quality NFL quarterback. Right now, I'm not a believer in him. Vikings 0-3, Browns 1-2. Let's go over to New England, where the New England Patriots at home beat the Tampa Bay Bucks 23-3. New England 3-0, Tampa Bay 0-3. New England always finds a way to win. It's amazing. No Gronkowski. Amendola is still hurt. A million guys out of the lineup, and you look up, they're still 3-0. Unbelievable how Belichick always gets his team ready to play. What is the deal with Tampa Bay? They are a complete mess. Freeman, who was such a good player a couple of years ago, can't do anything. Schiano, who we all liked last year, he had his team playing really hard. He may be fired. I don't know what the deal is with Tampa Bay. 3 points in today's NFL against New England? New England doesn't exactly have the greatest defense in the world, do they? Although they are playing much better this year, but they haven't really played, great offenses so far. New England's played Buffalo, the Jets, and Tampa, so we don't know how good the defense is. But Tampa Bay, only 3 points. It is going to be a long year for Tampa Bay. Schiano may not last. Freeman may be traded. It could all blow up in Tampa Bay. Just an awful performance by them. You look up again, and New England is 3-0 despite all the injuries, all the guys out of the lineup. Let's go down to the Superdome in New Orleans, where the New Orleans Saints beat the Arizona Cardinals 31-7. New Orleans up to 3-0. Arizona 1-2. It was close early, not late. New Orleans pulled away late. No surprise here. Did we think Arizona was going to travel down to New Orleans and beat the Saints in the Superdome? I didn't. I don't know many people that thought they would. This is just what we thought we'd get here, 31-7. The Saints we know are going to be much improved. They're better on defense. They got their coach back. Arizona, I don't know what to make of them. I know they got Carson Palmer, which I guess is a step up as far as what they've had at quarterback the last couple of years. But, I'm not a believer in Arizona. I don't think they're anywhere near a playoff team, and they just got shellacked in this game. So New Orleans, nice job, 3-0. Arizona, 1-2. Let's go to Washington, where the Detroit Lions had a nice road win. They beat the Redskins 27-20. Lions up to 2-1. Redskins 0-3. What's going on with Washington? This game was 17-17 the second half. RG3 runs down the field. He has a nice game. He fumbles the ball. Detroit gets it, goes down and kicks a field goal, go up 20-17. Then RG3 throws a bomb that appears to give Washington the lead. They review it. They say the ball hit the ground. Good call. It did hit the ground. They overturn that. From there, the Lions go down and score again. The Lions go up 10, and they hold on and win 27-20. Nice win by the Lions. It's a game I thought the Lions would find a way to lose, but Washington found a way to lose. RG3 with a terrible fumble. Then they get a bad break on that bomb they hit in the end zone. It just hit the ground. It looked like a catch at first, but the review was a good call. It definitely hit the ground. They took that touchdown away. Washington, all kinds of problems. Their defense doesn't look good at all. We know RG3 is not 100% right now. They're 0-3 right now, Washington. They have a long way back. I don't know if they're going to get back this year. And their defense looks atrocious. Forget RG3 for a minute. Forget him. Their defense looks terrible. Just an awful, awful performance by Washington again on defense. Nice job by Detroit. This is a game Detroit typically loses. They do get the win. They're up to 2-1. Washington, like I said, long way back for them. I don't think they're going to get back this year, 0-3. I do love RG3. I think he's going to get back to 100% during the year, but it's going to probably be too little too late. I don't think Washington makes a run this year. All right, let's go to Carolina, where the Carolina Panthers just bombard and bamboozle the New York Giants 38-0. Let me say it again. 38-0. The Panthers go up to 1-2. The Giants drop to 0-3. What's going on with the Giants? Carolina gets 7 sacks. This was a complete blowout. A complete blowout. Eli Manning looks lost. The Giant defense is awful. I mean, the Giants look like it's all come apart here for them. I mean, now you're going to hear the rumblings in New York. Oh, let's get rid of Coughlin. How many times have we heard that? Oh, Eli can't get it done. How many times have we heard that? Oh, the defense is this and that. This time they may be right. For this particular season, it may not go well for the Giants. I don't see the Giants getting back into this year. I mean, I know they've had bad starts in the past, but this is beyond anything they've had in the past. This is 0-3, losing 38-0 to Carolina. Now you got to go to Kansas City this week. I don't think it's going to happen for the Giants this year. And I'm not saying anyone needs to be replaced or they should fire Coughlin or whatever. But this is an atrocious, atrocious performance by the Giants the first few weeks. 38-0 to Carolina. Carolina was 0-2 coming into this game. Carolina lost Buffalo. I mean, come on. I mean, the Giants couldn't put up a point. Terrible job by the Giants. By the way, our condolences go out to the Coughlin family. Tom Coughlin lost his brother to an accident last week, so our condolences go out to the Coughlin family and the Giant family as well. That's a terrible, terrible loss for Tom Coughlin. All right, so that was the Giant-Carolina game. As far as the Jets-Buffalo, let's go to the Meadowlands in New York, where the New York Jets beat the Buffalo Bills 27-20. The Jets go up to 2-1. The Bills go to 1-2. Can you say ugly? Just ugly football. The Jets had 19 penalties and still won the game. Buffalo just looked awful. Manuel was under siege the whole game. I mean, the Jets put an incredible amount of pressure on him. The Bills looked awful. I mean, at one point this game was, 20-6 the Jets? I'm shocked the Bills actually caught up. The Bills just looked so pitiful to me. I mean, Jets do some terrible things. They do some nice things. Geno Smith had a couple of bad plays, but then he throws a couple of nice bombs down the field. Jets on defense put all kinds of pressure on Manuel, but the Jets, all these penalties, 19 penalties. Let me say this, though. The Bills are 1-2. That's just what we thought from them. We don't think much of the Bills. The Jets are a surprising 2-1. Do you realize the Jets are 2-1, the Giants are 0-3? Now, whoever thought that? Now, I don't think the Jets are going anywhere. I don't think they're making the playoffs. I don't even think they're going over 500. They are 2-1. They are playing hard. And Geno Smith has shown something. Now, he does a lot of bad things, but he's a rookie quarterback. But he's shown some good things as well. Had a couple of nice passes down the field. The one to Santonio Holmes for the touchdown. So Geno Smith looks like he can get some things done. And remember, the Jets don't have a lot of offense. The Jets don't have a lot around him. They don't have a lot of weapons. So the Jets, nice job at 2-1. I mean, despite the penalties and how ugly they look sometimes, they're still 2-1. They're playing hard, so nice job by the Jets. Buffalo 1-2. Oh my goodness, they look terrible. You watch this game, and you wonder how Buffalo can win any games. How'd they beat Carolina? I mean, Buffalo was just pitiful. It was an ugly game. But let me move away from that game. It was too ugly. All right, let's go out to San Francisco, where the Indianapolis Colts just demolished the San Francisco 49ers 27-7. The Colts are 2-1. Nice win. What's going on with San Francisco? They're 1-2. They came off a beating to Seattle and now took a beating at home to the Colts. What's this all about? This was shocking to me. Now, the Niners have a few injuries here that we have to keep an eye on. Crabtree is out, one of their best receivers. He's not going to be back for a while. Vernon Davis missed this game. We know Smith, the defensive player, is going to miss a month. He's going to go into rehab. So the Niners have some issues now. Kaepernick didn't play well at all. He looked like a rookie this past week. Didn't play well at all. Colts carved up the San Francisco defense. I mean, Bradshaw, the ex-Giant, was running right through the San Francisco defense. I like Luck. Tremendous win by the Colts. They deserve this game. They pushed San Francisco around their own building. The Niners, you got to get this straightened out. You're 1-2. Seattle's 3-0, and Seattle doesn't lose any home games. It's going to be tough to catch Seattle for the division. That means the Niners are going to be fighting for the wild card. That means no home field. So, I mean, San Francisco, it's time to get your act together. You have a short week. You're in St. Louis this week. Get your act together. Get your act together. That game in St. Louis won't be easy. Very disappointed in San Francisco's performance. They're one of the best teams in the league. They're in the Super Bowl last year. I know they got some guys out. So is the rest of the league. Go out there and find a way to get the job done. Terrible performance by San Francisco. They're 1-2. Great job by Indianapolis. Didn't think they had it in them. Sold them short. I got burned for it. Nice job by the Colts. They're 2-1. So that was that game. As far as the Seattle-Jacksonville game, I guess we can touch on it for 2 seconds out in Seattle. The Seahawks just bombard Jacksonville, 45-17. Seahawks go to 3-0. Jacksonville 0-3. I mean, Jacksonville we know is the worst team in football. Gabbard, who knows if he plays this week. I mean, I don't love him as a starting quarterback at all. Henny's not the answer. Jacksonville's got all sorts of problems. Jones-Drew is always hurt. I mean, their best receiver is suspended the first 4 games. Jacksonville, a complete mess. They're going to get the #1 pick in the draft. Seattle's unbeatable at home. They're just such a good home team. The fans are tremendous. Seattle's one of the best teams in the league. A little shaky on the road, but they can play at home, and they're 3-0. They want to get home field. If they get home field in the playoffs, Seattle could very easily go to the Super Bowl, because who's going in there from the NFC and beating them? Who's going in there and beating them? To me, nobody. So if Seattle gets home field in the NFC, they're going to the Super Bowl. Keep an eye on that. Seattle rolled in this game, 45-17. As far as the Sunday night game, the Chicago Bears beat the Pittsburgh Steelers 40-23. Bears go to 3-0. Steelers drop to 0-3, and just the mishaps continue for the Steelers. 5 turnovers. The Steelers had 5 turnovers in this game. The Bears had 0. The Steelers have yet to generate a turnover in 3 games. They played Tennessee. Tennessee had no turnovers. Week 2 against Cincinnati. Cincinnati, no turnovers. Week 3 here against the Bears. Bears, no turnovers. Meanwhile, the Steelers are turning the ball over left and right. Steelers have 9 turnovers in 3 games, and they have yet to get a turnover. That's not winning football at all. Roethlisberger running for his life as usual. They still have no running game. This game was ugly early. The Bears were up 24-3, doing whatever they wanted with Forte, Cutler, Jeffries. Bears got a roughing the punter penalty. Steelers got a touchdown from there, made it 24-10. Bears kicked the field goal to make it 27-10. Steelers kicked the field goal to make it 27-13. Steelers then started to rally, made it 27-20, 27-23. And here was the turning point of this game. 4th quarter, Bears are up 27-23. Bears are at their own 25-yard line. Big 3rd down. Cutler scrambles for a first down. Then another 3rd down. Cutler to Marshall. Another 1st down. Then another 3rd and long. Cutler to Bennett. Touchdown back of the end zone. From there, Peppers strips Roethlisberger. They score again, 40-23. Lights out Pittsburgh. Your season is over. They are 0-3. I mean, I don't see the Pittsburgh Steelers coming back from this. They're in a tough division. Cincinnati and Baltimore are going to be good. I don't see how the Steelers recover. They have major issues on the offensive line, major issues in the running game, can't force a turnover, all sorts of problems for the Steelers. Bears, hey, give them credit. They are 3-0. They don't just take the ball away. They take the ball away and they score with it. So tremendous job by Chicago. Chicago, right now, 3-0 in the division, 2 games ahead of Green Bay. Detroit's 2-1, a game back. Chicago's doing a really nice job. Really like the new coach. Really like him. Love what I see from Chicago early in the season. Pittsburgh, it's going to be a long way back for them. I don't see them recovering from this. They needed this game. They just did not get it. How about the game in London this week? We'll get to that in a second. Pittsburgh, Minnesota, and London. We'll get to that in a second. Let's go through the schedule in the NFL for this week. Now, we'll make our NFL picks on Thursday. Tomorrow we'll do our college picks. Thursday our NFL picks. And then Friday we'll recap the Thursday game. But here's some of the games coming up this week. Now, this is without the spreads. This is just the games, just to give you a little overview of who's playing this week. On Thursday night, San Francisco at St. Louis. San Francisco, you better get your act together. You've had 2 terrible losses in a row. You've got a lot of injuries. This game will not be easy in St. Louis. San Francisco needs to show me something this week. We'll get more into this game on Thursday. Baltimore at Buffalo. I mean, I don't like what I see at all from Buffalo. Cincinnati at Cleveland. Interesting rivalry game. Cleveland did get a win last week. We'll see if they can beat a much better Cincinnati team. Arizona at Tampa Bay. Arizona at Tampa Bay. Arizona just got drubbed in New Orleans. Now they got to come across the country and play Tampa Bay. What's the score of that game going to be? 6-6. Indianapolis at Jacksonville. That should be a rout. Seattle at Houston. Very interesting game. We know Seattle's a great home team. Not as great on the road. Houston, you have to show me something this week. Do not let Seattle come into your building and push you around the way you got pushed around in Baltimore last week. Houston, you're on the clock. You got to show me something this week. Chicago at Detroit, very nice game this week. Giants at Kansas City. Oh, goodness, watch out, Giants. Pittsburgh, Minnesota in London. Pittsburgh, Minnesota in London. What is the NFL's fascination with putting games in London? Can you explain this to me? Why? The NFL makes billions and billions of dollars as it is. It's our game. It's an American game. England likes soccer. Why are we putting the NFL regular season in London? Just like I don't understand why the Bills play one home game in Toronto, Canada. Canada is a hockey town. Meanwhile, they have the CFL up there. Why do the Bills need to play one home game in Toronto? I don't get that. I don't get this. If you want to put a team, somewhere, put one in Mexico City. You get 100,000 people. I mean, I don't understand the fascination here with putting games in London. I just don't get it. Now, the London fans do a nice job. They sell out this game. And here's another thing. Why does it always seem like we are putting bad matchups in London? Jacksonville goes over there. This year, 0-3 Pittsburgh, 0-3 Minnesota. Oh, that's going to get the London fans really excited to be interested in American football. I don't understand the fascination with this. I really don't get it. And I don't understand why we always send bad teams over there as well, like Jacksonville, like Minnesota, like this bad Pittsburgh team. Don't understand the whole concept at all. But Minnesota-Pittsburgh, talk about an awful game. Jets at Tennessee. I wouldn't expect the Jets to win there, but hey, the Jets have done better than we thought so far. Washington at Oakland. Hey, Washington, now or never for you. Dallas at San Diego. Interesting game. Will San Diego find yet another way to lose? Philadelphia at Denver. Philadelphia's going to get blown out in this game. The bloom is off the rose with Philadelphia already. Their defense is atrocious. Their offense didn't look good last week at all. How many points is Denver going to score? 50? They're going to score 50 this week. We'll get more into this on Thursday. The Sunday night game's a good one. New England and Atlanta, very good game. We'll see if Gronkowski gets back for New England. They're going to need him against Atlanta. Steven Jackson out for Atlanta. And the Monday night game, a beauty. 3-0 Miami at 3-0 New Orleans in the Superdome. Now, I don't love dome stadiums or AstroTurf or anything, anything like that, but I love the fans in New Orleans. They are some of the greatest fans. They're always decked out in their outfits. Tremendous game, Miami at New Orleans on Monday night. We'll get into all these games on Thursday with the spread. As far as your divisions right now, and it's early, we're only 3 weeks into the season, let's go through the divisions real quick. In the NFC East, Dallas is 2-1. To me, they're in total control of this division. All the other teams are struggling. Philadelphia 1-2, all sorts of issues. Giants 0-3, even more issues. Washington 0-3 has their issues as well. Dallas in control of this division. In the North, Bears doing a great job at 3-0. Detroit right there at 2-1. Green Bay's 1-2. I think we're going to hear from them. Minnesota's done at 0-3. In the South, New Orleans 3-0. We know they're going to be much improved. They have a 2-game lead over Atlanta already, and they beat Atlanta. Atlanta's 1-2. I still think we're going to hear from Atlanta. Carolina 1-2. We'll see if they can put something together. Tampa Bay 0-3. Good night to them. In the West, Seattle 3-0 in total control of this division. San Francisco 1-2. Get it together now. St. Louis 1-2. They're a year away. Arizona 1-2. Don't have much expectations from them. In the AFC, New England 3-0. They always find a way. Miami much improved 3-0. Jets doing a decent job so far, although I don't think it's going to last. They're 2-1. Buffalo 1-2. I think they're going to stay and last. In the North, Cincinnati 2-1, doing a really nice job. I like Cincinnati. I consider them the favorite in this division. Baltimore 2-1. Don't count them out. Very proud franchise. They do it the right way. Cleveland 1-2. They won last week. We'll see if they can start to put something together. A little winning streak or something. Won't be easy for Cleveland. Pittsburgh 0-3. They're done. In the South, Houston 2-1. Houston, come up with a big performance against Seattle this week. Don't like your body language early in the year. Colts off a nice win there, 2-1. They're going to be right there for the playoffs. Tennessee, much improved, 2-1. We'll see if they can keep it up. Jacksonville 0-3, worst team in football. And the West, Denver 3-0, one of the best teams in all of football. But we got to see Peyton Manning in the playoffs. He's a different quarterback in the playoffs. Doesn't play as well. Chiefs 3-0, one of the surprise teams of the league. I think they have a definite shot to get to the playoffs. Some of the best fans in the world as well. Oakland 1-2. I mean, not much expectations for Oakland. I don't see them winning many games. And San Diego 1-2. Although they're playing hard, they're still 1-2. Gotta stop finding ways to lose. We've been saying this about San Diego for at least 5 years. That's your standings in the NFL right now. As far as the college football over the weekend, let's go to some college football, and we'll do our college picks tomorrow for the week coming up. But as far as last week goes, on Friday night, Fresno State beat Boise by 1 point. And I told you this last week. Fresno State could go undefeated. Their schedule is very light. They beat Rutgers and Boise by 1 point each this year. Those could be their two toughest tests of the year. Their schedule is really light. Now, they're not going to no national championship game, not with that schedule. Could go undefeated, and I'll tell you, the quarterback Carr, who's the brother of the ex-NFL quarterback Carr, who also went to Fresno State, he looks like a dark horse for the Heisman. He had a really nice game. Now, I don't think he's going to win the Heisman playing, these type of teams. He could be a dark horse for the Heisman, Carr. And we know his brother from the NFL as well. He also went to Fresno State. So I think Fresno State could possibly go to undefeated. I'll tell you, Boise State made a big mistake early in this game. I think it was at 17-10 when they scored to make it 17-16. Boise went for 2 for some reason in the first half. Didn't get it. We're chasing that point the rest of the game. End up losing by 1. What is the fascination with coaches going for 2 early in the game? The Boise State coach does it. The Oregon coach used to do it. Chip Kelly, who's now at the Eagles. He did it with the Eagles last week as well in the NFL game. He went for 2 early in the game. I don't know. The USC coach Kiffin does it all the time. They go down and score, make it 6-0. They always go for 2. What is the fascination with going for 2 points early in the game? And then you're chasing that point the rest of the way. I mean, when you don't get it. I don't understand why you just wouldn't go up 7-0, or in this case, just tie the game at 17. What does going up 18-17 in the second quarter do for you? I mean, I just don't understand the risk-reward, and then you don't get it. You're chasing the point the rest of the game. You end up losing by 1. And I love the Boise State coach. I think he's a great coach. And I give him credit for staying at Boise. He goes for 2 too often, especially early in the game. It cost him. Fresno State, nice job on Friday night. On Saturday, Notre Dame edged Michigan State 17-13. Real defensive game. Notre Dame probably should have had more points than they did. Michigan State has no offense whatsoever. Notre Dame, a big game this week. We'll touch on that tomorrow. Utah held off BYU in a very nice rivalry game, 20-13. You know, it's funny. Most people think BYU has the all-time series lead in this series. No. Utah has the all-time series lead. Utah gets the better of BYU. They do it again here, 20-13. Florida beat Tennessee for the 9th straight year. Florida does lose their quarterback. The backup did some nice things. What is with Tennessee? You've lost to Florida 9 straight years. Tennessee used to be one of the perennial powers in college football. They have fallen completely on their face. LSU handled Auburn in the rain, got off to a fast start, never looked back, won by 14. Michigan barely beat UConn up in UConn, and this is after Michigan barely beat Akron last week. Actually should have lost to Akron last week. What's going on with Michigan? They have a 2-week hangover after the big Notre Dame game. What's going on? Michigan, they could have been beat 2 weeks in a row. They do find a way to win, win in advance. They escape, so they're still undefeated, but not impressed with Michigan's performance the last 2 weeks. Stanford stomped on Arizona State. The score was not indicative of how much of a blowout this was. Arizona State was on borrowed time as it was. They should have lost to Wisconsin the week before. Got a total gift. They weren't getting a gift this week. Stanford just demolished them. Stanford is a very good team. Rutgers, nice comeback against Arkansas. Terrible loss by Arkansas. Rutgers was down big in this game, came storming back and beat Arkansas. So nice win by Rutgers. Terrible loss by Arkansas. I mean, you're winning by double digits late in the game. You let this game slip away. Awful loss by Arkansas. And how many of the big teams last week crushed the small teams? How many teams scored 70 points last week? Just a disgrace. The Miami game, the Miami of Florida game, had to be shortened. Both coaches agreed to shorten the game because it was so one-sided. I think it was 77-7 going into the fourth quarter. They actually had to shorten the game. I mean, what a joke. We know it's all about money. These small schools make a ton of money taking their beating, at the hands of these big schools. And the big schools, hey, they have no risk in losing the game. They still get a decent crowd. I mean, when Alabama plays Colorado State, they still get 90,000 people in the stands. So very little risk for the big teams. They're going to get a win. They still pack their house. And the small teams get their $750,000 check. What else is new in the NCAA with college football? It's all about money. College game day was at North Dakota State. North Dakota State did win their game. They had a nice crowd for college game day at North Dakota State. I have to give them credit for that. I want to send my condolences to Cincinnati. The Cincinnati lineman Flick died in a car accident after the game, so our condolences go out to the Cincinnati family. As far as some other coaches that are on the hot seat, Mac Brown had a big win with Texas this week. They beat Kansas State. Mac Brown had to have it. He's on the hot seat. Kiffin at USC, who I think is on the hot seat, they beat Utah State, so Kiffin gets a win there. How about Maryland routing West Virginia 37-0? What is with the West Virginia program? I'll tell you, the West Virginia coach has to be on the hot seat now, too. You lose 37-0 to Maryland. I mean, I know Maryland has improved, and Etzel's a good coach. He can coach. He built a nice program at UConn. He's got Maryland undefeated now. But you lose 37-0 to Maryland in your West Virginia. West Virginia coach on the hot seat. Terrible loss there. So we'll keep an eye on Mac Brown at Texas, Kiffin at USC, the West Virginia coach, Pelini at Nebraska. All these guys could be on the hot seat. Even the UConn coach, although they did play well this week, they're 0-3. Maryland, big game this week at Florida State. I'm sorry, that's in 2 weeks. That is not this week. That is in 2 weeks. That's a big game coming up. 2 undefeated teams. That's in 2 weeks, not this week. My correction there. All right, so that is your college football. Like I said, college football picks tomorrow. NFL picks Thursday. Friday, we'll recap the Thursday game. As far as your Major League Baseball, real quick, as far as last night, Tampa Bay beat Baltimore. Tampa Bay swept away Baltimore. Baltimore's season is over. They had a nice year. Baltimore came to a screeching halt in Tampa Bay this weekend. Tampa Bay just blasted them. Machado, the fine player for Baltimore, leaves what looks like a serious leg injury. We'll keep an eye on that. Also, Baltimore's second baseman left with a possible concussion, so Baltimore just got bruised, battered, and beat up as their season comes to an end. Tampa Bay, huge win there yesterday. Texas demolished Houston. Hey, Houston, thanks for showing up. Houston gets swept by Cleveland. They get demolished by Texas. They can't beat anyone. I mean, they're not playing spoiler at all, so Texas gets the win there. Kansas City beat Seattle in extra innings last night. Cincinnati, St. Louis, and Pittsburgh all won. Washington lost. Washington's out of it. Yankees off last night. Cleveland off last night as well. As far as your standings right now, in the American League, your 3 division leaders, Boston, Oakland, Detroit. As far as your wild card in the American League, Tampa Bay is the first wild card, Cleveland the second wild card, Texas only a game out, and they're playing Houston right now. Very interesting. Kansas City, 3 games out, in all kinds of trouble. Yankees 4 out, all but dead. Baltimore 5 out, they are dead. As far as the National League, you have Atlanta, St. Louis, and the Dodgers as your division leaders. Cincinnati and Pittsburgh will make the playoffs. Washington is out. Cincinnati and Pittsburgh playing for position at this point, and they still got a shot at the division as well. As far as tonight's schedule in baseball, you have Toronto at Baltimore, but Baltimore's dead in the water after after Tampa Bay demolished them, so that series has lost its luster. Cleveland hosts the White Sox. Cleveland right there, leading the second wild card. Cleveland's schedule has been very easy. Just swept Houston 4 games. Now they got the White Sox. We'll keep an eye on Cleveland. Tampa Bay at the Yankees. If the Yankees have a miracle in them, they have to start tonight against Tampa Bay. Kansas City at Seattle. Kansas City's in all kinds of trouble, but they are still alive. Houston at Texas. Texas is only a game out, so they're right there, and they play Houston. As far as the National League, you have Pittsburgh and the Cubs, Mets, Cincinnati, Washington, St. Louis. St. Louis, Cincinnati, and Pittsburgh are all going to make it. It's just a matter of the position of who's going to win the division, who's going to host that wild card spot. So that's kind of where you are in your baseball. Okay, let me take a breath here. You guys are all caught up. We had a lot to catch up on the last few days. You guys are all caught up. You guys, enjoy the games tonight. Tonight is a baseball night. We take a night off from the football. You got some baseball games to keep an eye on. We're in the last week of the baseball season. Then we hit the playoffs, believe it or not. Tomorrow, wall-to-wall college football picks. We're going to go through all the big games with the spreads. I've been doing pretty well with my college football picks this year. I mean, last week I was kind of 500, but, the first few weeks I was way over 500. So I have a really nice record against the spreads with my college football picks. The NFL, I got off to a hot start the first couple of weeks. This week I didn't have such a great week. Still over 500 for the year, but had a bad week last week. We'll pick the NFL games on Thursday. Hopefully I can rebound and pick a little better than I did last week. I didn't have such a good week last week. Friday, we'll recap the Thursday night game, and then we will preview the weekend, everything coming up over the weekend. Okay, you guys are caught up. You guys stay safe. Enjoy the games tonight. It's a baseball night tonight. Tomorrow, wall-to-wall college football. Get ready for college football. Previewing all the big games. And we got some big games this weekend. Oklahoma at Notre Dame. Very, very nice game. LSU at Georgia. Wisconsin at Ohio State. I mean, the list goes on and on. There's some really nice games. After a really bad college football week last week, we're going to have a good college football week this week. We got a bunch of good games to cover. We'll get into all of them tomorrow. Also, Ole Miss Alabama this week. Could be a surprising game. Ole Miss is much improved. Don't forget about that game. We'll get into it all tomorrow. You guys stay safe. Enjoy the games. Thanks for the support. Talk to you tomorrow, Wednesday. Take care.